It all started on a quiet Saturday morning at a dusty flea market that seemed to hold the forgotten memories of the entire town. Rows upon rows of old things, silent typewriters, yellowed postcards, and chipped teacups, each with its own untold story. But as I wandered through the aisles, one particular table pulled me in. It wasn't flashy or grand. In fact, it was quite the opposite. There, nestled between a stack of old magazines and a tarnished silver locket, sat a small wooden box. It was beautifully worn. The corners rounded and the wood smoothed by countless hands over what must have been decades. The lid was simple, but etched into it was a single word, carved in elegant, looping cursive, *recipes*. Curiosity got the better of me. I lifted the lid, and the scent of old paper, vanilla, and something faintly spicy drifted out. Inside, my heart skipped a beat. It was filled with a stack of faded index cards, each one a testament to a life lived in the kitchen. They were stained with splashes of sauce, flecks of flour, and the gentle patina of time. These weren't just lists of ingredients. Each card was a tiny portal to the past, filled with personal notes scribbled in a graceful, looping handwriting. For rainy nights, one read, "Use more spice." Another advised, "Add extra butter leaves to short." I smiled, imagining the warm, wise person who had penned these words. Each card felt like a whisper, a gentle piece of advice from a friend I'd never met. As I sifted through them, I realized they were more than just recipes. They were moments, captured in flour and sugar. Apple pie made for his birthday. Chicken stew after the big storm. Sunday roast the whole family together. I could almost see the scenes playing out, a child blowing out candles, a family huddled together while thunder rolled outside, the clatter of silverware and laughter around a dinner table. I bought the box for $5. As the vendor handed it to me, it felt far heavier than it should have, as if I were carrying not just a collection of cards, but the weight of a lifetime of stories, love, and care. That night, I sat at my kitchen table, the little wooden box open before me. I went through every single card, one by one. Some were smudged and barely legible, the ink blurred by a long-ago spill. Others were perfectly neat, the handwriting as crisp as the day it was written. Each card seemed to have its own personality, reflecting the mood or the moment it was created. But they all shared one thing, the steady, loving hand of the woman who wrote them. Then I came across one card that made me pause. Tucked near the back, it was for a lemon cake. The note at the bottom read, "Lemon cake Mom's favorite. Always reminds me of home." The words were simple, but they resonated so deeply. It felt like I wasn't just reading a recipe, I was holding a memory, a piece of someone's heart that they had carefully preserved and, somehow, left behind for a stranger to find. In that moment, I knew I had to make it. The next afternoon, I gathered the ingredients: flour, sugar, butter, and a bowl of bright, sunny lemons. As I followed the instructions, my kitchen slowly began to fill with the most incredible aroma, the sharp, clean scent of lemon zest mixing with the warm, comforting smell of baking cake. It was like sunlight pouring through the curtains on a spring morning. And as I stood there, watching the cake rise in the oven, I realized something. For the first time in weeks, I didn't feel alone in the room. It was a strange but wonderful feeling. I could almost hear a gentle voice, a soft whisper in my ear, guiding me. Add a little more zest, make it bright. It was as if the spirit of the recipe's author was right there with me, sharing her secrets. When the cake was finally done, golden brown and fragrant, I couldn't help but feel a sense of connection to this person I had never known. I decided to share it. My elderly neighbor, Mrs. Hall, lived alone, and I knew she would appreciate a slice of something warm and homemade. I cut a generous piece, placed it on a plate, and knocked on her door. She greeted me with her usual kind smile and invited me in. I handed her the plate, explaining that I'd been trying out a new recipe. She took a small forkful, brought it to her lips, and took a bite. Her eyes closed, and for a moment, she was completely still. A soft, nostalgic smile spread across her face. "Oh, my," she said, her voice barely a whisper. This tastes just like my sister's recipe." My breath caught in my throat. I hadn't mentioned where the recipe came from. I rushed back to my apartment and returned with the index card for the lemon cake. I handed it to her, my hand trembling slightly. She looked at it, her eyes scanning the faded ink and the familiar, looping script. She went completely still, her gaze fixed on the card. "That's her handwriting," she whispered, her eyes filling with tears. It turned out that Mrs. Hall's sister had passed away several years ago. Before she died, her family had cleared out her home and donated many of her old belongings to a local charity, which then distributed them to various flea markets around the area. That little wooden box filled with a lifetime of love and flavors had somehow against all odds found its way from a dusty market stall to my kitchen, and then full circle back to the one person in the world who would recognize its true meaning. We sat together for the rest of the afternoon, sharing slices of cake and stories about her sister. It was a day I will never forget. Now, that recipe box has a permanent home on my kitchen counter. It's more than just a collection of recipes to me, it's a treasure. I still cook from it often, sometimes for friends, sometimes just for myself when I need a little comfort. That little box taught me a profound lesson. Food doesn't just feed the body. It carries love. It carries memory. It carries a legacy that can transcend time and connect us in the most unexpected ways. And maybe, just maybe, when we take the time to cook from someone else's story, we do more than just make a meal. We honor their memory. We keep their spirit alive for one more dinner, one more slice of cake, one more taste of home. Food carries memory, and tending to it can mend relationships and even build new ones. Thank you for letting me share this story with you. If you believe in the magic of shared stories, please subscribe to Viral Voice Tales and hit that notification bell. Keep listening to stories worth sharing.